Hey guys, welcome to Mystifying Miracles. Glad you're here. Today the story is quite amazing. It's in regards to a snowstorm basically, and the rescuer is not who most would expect. I'm going to get into this one woman's story, so stay tuned. It was Monday, January 31st in 2022, and a snowstorm was due to hit Canada. A woman by the name of Shannon St. Onge, she was working from home that day, but she had to get out that afternoon to go to her office because she was the director of finance, so she needed to get this one thing done. And it was for a student for some financial aid, so she had to sign the check. Now, she thought she'd have plenty of time because the storm wasn't due till later that evening. So she gets in her car, heads to her office at First Nations University at Regina, Saskatchewan. She signs the financial aid check, she gets her coworker to co-sign, and she's done. Before she gets her things to leave for the day, she notices that her coworker accidentally left his laptop in her office. He was gone for the day, and when she called him, he was already home. So she offers to drop off the laptop on her way. Still, she thought plenty of time. When she looked at the clock as she was leaving, it was just 4:30 p.m., so she really wasn't worried. But she didn't know that this extra errand was about to turn very dangerous. Her coworker's house also, it was just 15 minutes away, so it wasn't too far, but she decides to take the back roads because sometimes the highway, it can be like an ice skating rink. So she thought this would be safer. Along the way, she has to pick up a phone charger because hers was kaput. She also has to fill up her car with gas. In addition, she picks up 2 large pizzas to take back home for dinner to her 2 teenagers. She had made him a promise she would, so she knocks all those things out fairly quickly. After she drops the laptop off, she's on her way back home, and that's when the snow began to fall at a fast rate. Now, meteorologists on TV had been touting this thing as called the Snownado, which is also known as the Saskatchewan Screamer. Apparently, this is when snow falls so much, so fast, and the winds are so crazy that it creates this scream that you can hear outside. So reason being what it's called. Now, eventually, as Shannon's driving and it's getting worse and worse, the road changes. It goes from a paved road down to gravel, which really starts to be hard to drive on, so she has to slow down and take it easy. The snow was piling up on the windshield, and her windows were so foggy, she could barely see out. I mean, these winds were crazy, and Shannon says there was zero visibility. Snow was all over the ground. She couldn't even see if she was on the right side of the road, let alone she had no idea where she was in that moment. All she could see was white out. She decides to stop her car, keep it running to stay warm, and she goes ahead and she dials 911 to ask for help. The dispatcher tells her this snow is so awful, she's going to have to sit tight, be patient, and stay warm if she can, because no one would be able to get to her till early morning. The wait was agonizing. I mean, imagine this, feeling trapped in your car. Shannon's starting to panic. It's just 14 degrees Fahrenheit outside. Again, you can't see a thing but white. So she doesn't know what to do. She's worried that a car could come up fast behind her, not see her because of the conditions, and end up hitting her. Not to mention, she starts thinking, oh gosh, what if my tailpipe gets clogged with snow? That's at risk for carbon monoxide poisoning. So she's very, very scared. She tries to constantly calm herself down, take deep breaths, don't panic. After she's able to do so, she gives her kids a call to let them know what's going on. She doesn't want them to be worried, so she hides the fact of how scared she is. She looks at the clock. It's 6 p.m. It's now dark. And it's right about that time a car comes out of nowhere, coming pretty fast. And it was a Ford Edge SUV truck. This truck drove right by her, almost clipping her from the back. Now, Shannon decides on the fly look, I don't know where I am, how I'm going to get out of this. So she puts her car on drive and she follows this SUV thinking maybe they know where they are and I can get out of this somehow. Well, the truck finally makes a turn and the guy in it rolls his window down and screams out at Shannon that he's heading towards the beach. I don't understand that. I'm not even going to try to understand going to the beach. Maybe he has a house there. I don't know. But either way, Shannon knows that's not in the direction of her house. So she stops following him. She decides to text her coworker whose laptop she drops off, and she jokes with them, laughing, and she tells them about, doing a good deed turning into disaster, meaning her situation, and they kind of laugh a bit. But then the coworker has a really good idea. He tells her to pin where she is on Google Maps. Moments later, she receives a text from this coworker, and he had sent her the satellite view of exactly where she was in that moment. She happened to be on a small road called Bouvier Lane, and this road ran between two different farms. So at about 6:30 p.m., Shannon gets on her Facebook, and she decides to make a post in her Facebook community group. She asks, hey, does anyone know anybody living on one of these two farms that could come help rescue me? Pretty soon, people begin answering on that post. And some of the people actually knew the people who lived on one of the farms. It was 8 p.m. when Shannon got a call on her cell phone. And it happened to be the son of one of these farmers. And he told her, hey, my dad's going to be on his way to come help you. That man, Andre Bouvier Sr., an 80-year-old elderly man. When he got the call from his son, he was relaxing at home just doing some genealogy research. He decides, I've got to help this lady. Now, his wife protested a bit. She thought this is too dangerous, but Andre was going to do it. So he bundles up, he grabs a big old LED flashlight, and he heads out. He walked a quarter of a mile in this raging storm to find her car. And in the process, he ends up finding two other cars filled with other people who also need help. It was around 8:45 p.m. when Shannon sees a tall figure coming near her. Walking his best and slow, he was wearing a yellow slicker, and she was just so relieved in that moment to see somebody's helping her. When Andre got up to her window, she rolls it down and she sees who's actually come to help her. And she's just baffled because she sees the wrinkles on his face. She sees the silver in his hair and she's like, oh my gosh, an elderly man just walked in a blizzard to come help me. Andre ends up leading 7 people in total, Shannon included, back to his home where they were given food, rest, blankets, pillows, and a warm place for the night. Shannon remembers his wife, Marianne, tending to her. She gave her hot drink, tea, applesauce, just a very, very kind woman. And everyone spent the rest of the night just laughing, sharing stories, and just being thankful. Bright and early the next morning at 5 a.m., Andre gets up to plow the driveway. That way, all his guests can leave safely. After all this occurred, Shannon says this experience was a game changer for her. When a challenge comes up in her life, she sees it differently and she approaches it so. Instead of panic, fear, and worry, she says she approaches all of these challenges with a sense of calm. And she stayed in touch with Andre and Marianne. They are still friends to this day. So what a story, guys. I mean, who would have thought that God would, have this 80-year-old man come out to help somebody in a blizzard? I just can't fathom that. So yeah, just an incredible story. Let me know what you guys thought of this. Thank you for watching, for being here. I'm so appreciative, guys. Thank you. I hope you're having a wonderful new year so far, and I'm going to see you for the next one.